There were a few big stories that have broke in the past week, so I want to get your take on them. Let's start with last week when House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced he is directing some House committees to open an impeachment inquiry into President Biden over his family's business dealings. What do you make of the news?
I think that there's an advantage to doing it and a disadvantage politically. And let me go into a little bit of each. The advantage is essentially a legal one. Namely, until now, if you're a committee that's doing the investigating, even in the House where you have subpoena power, serious people are investigating in the Senate, Grassley and Johnson, but they don't have subpoena power and they can't hold hearings. In the House, you have subpoena power, but you have to then ask Merrick Garland to enforce the subpoena. And of course, he's not going to do it. And a lot of the subpoenas are against Merrick Garland and the DOJ and the FBI. And of course, they're not going to turn over everything. They're going to say, oh, it's all under investigation. We're going to spend another 5 years on it. But if you have an impeachment committee, you can go directly to court. And the court will say that what you're doing is a legitimate action of Congress, and we can enforce the subpoena. Now, the courts don't have policemen, but if they tell an organization you have to turn over these documents, then they will have to turn over the documents or be in contempt of court. But and that solves one political problem for Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, which is he's got a lot of problem on his right, in the right wing of a caucus that gives him only a very narrow majority. And we're seeing that in a blow up over the budget negotiations and whether the government will shut down. But the bigger political problem here is that unless you really come up with smoking guns, then you are jeopardizing a number of House Democrats and House Republicans and maybe some Senate Republicans in blue electoral districts, the Senate Republicans in blue states, or purple states, I should say. But there were, I don't remember the exact number, but 10 or 12 Republican House members who won in districts that Biden won. So those were the people who McCarthy can't afford to lose, and they're none too happy about this investigation. Now, the good news is that the investigation will go on behind closed doors, and which means professional lawyers and investigators will do the questioning, because when you hand it over to people who like to be in the Klieg lights and get publicity for their own reelection campaign, what you have is disjointed 5-minute inquiries, first by the Republicans, then by the Democrats, then by the Republicans, and it doesn't make any sense, and they can't get anything pushed through. Behind closed doors, you can find you can do a lot better, and that's the plan right now. Unless they find something very serious, there's zero chance this will make it through a Senate conviction.